In this video, we're going to take a quick look at a rough estimate of how many hormones there are to learn about. Now, this number might fluctuate as we go over more and more hormones. Ultimately, you're responsible for all of them, but I'm going to really focus in on the ones that I highlight here to some degree. There's 8 hormones that we're going to be concerned with from the hypothalamus. So I'm going to write an 8 up there. Now, with these numbers, when you're lying in bed studying and going through your material at night and you're naming off your hormones and you count them up as 7, you'll know that you're missing 1. There's 8 hormones produced by the hypothalamus. There's 6 hormones that are produced by the anterior pituitary and 2 hormones that are released by the posterior pituitary. There's also a hormone produced by the pineal gland. There's at least 2, depending on how we categorize them, possibly more. Let's begin with 2 hormones in the thyroid. There's 1 hormone coming from all those parathyroid hormones. There's 1 hormone from the heart, 1 hormone from the thymus, 1 hormone from each layer of the adrenal cortex, and there's 2 hormones from the adrenal medulla. We'll begin with 2 hormones from the pancreas. We'll probably get up to 3 there, and a couple hormones from the kidneys. Some might consider one of those just an enzyme. Again, we got to loosen our shoulders a little bit when we think about hormones, and how they're behaving is the important thing to know. 1 hormone from the gonad, whether you're a male or a female, I bet you guys already know which hormones those are. 2 hormones we can do from the adipose, and 1 hormone from the skin. So when I count up these numbers, 8, 9, 10, 11, 17, 18, 1 from each parathyroid, or 1 from the parathyroids, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36 hormones I have here. I better double check that. 8, 9, 10, 11, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36 hormones. You need to know approximately 36 hormones. And this number might change as we move along, depending on how we categorize them or divide them up. Now, what do you need to know? First of all, you need to know the name of the hormone, or the names of the hormones, because some of these have multiple names. And you'll need to be able to identify all of them, including the abbreviations and the acronyms. 2, what is the chemical class? What is it made of? What is the chemical class of that hormone? 3, what organ produces that hormone? And we're not just going to learn these organs, we're going to name the specific cells that produce those hormones. The specific cell that produces the hormone. We also need to know what organ releases the hormone. What organ releases the hormone? And we're going to get even more detailed. What specific cell produces the hormone? Releases or secretes the hormone. We want to know how the hormone travels in the blood once it is released. In blood. We want to know what its target is. What is the target organ for that hormone? And we're not going to stop there. We need to know the target cell. And not even just the cell, we want to know where it binds to that cell, where the hormone binds to the cell. We want to know what effect the hormone has on that cell. We want to know what hypersecretion, too much of the hormone secretion, does or causes. We want to know what hyposecretion does or results in. That's too little of the hormone. And then we want to know what will stop the action, what inhibits the hormone from being released. And that kind of does the logical progression of how a hormone operates. But to come full circle, we should know what stimulated its release in the first place. What stimulates its release? Sorry, I'm out of room on that paper. There's one more thing that I've left off of here. You could make it 16 things that you need to know. We could condense a couple of these together to make it 13. The numbers don't matter. The idea is that you understand the progression of how a hormone moves through the body and are able to answer some of these questions, all of these questions, for each of the individual hormones, for which there's many. We also are going to need to know how that specific cell produces the hormone. So this is all stuff you can start working on, and it's basically the cornerstone of the entire chapter as it goes through each hormone and covers its progression. How the specific cell produces the hormone, or manufactures it, or makes it. Okay, that's approximately 16 things with approximately 36 hormones. This would be on the order of 400 to 500 things that you need to memorize. But because there's often multiple targets or multiple effects or multiple names for these hormones, this number of 500 can quickly become 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 things to memorize. So you definitely have your work cut out for you with this chapter. We're going to spend a lot of time on it. I recommend that instead of creating tables and charts and lists that you're seeking to memorize, I want to teach you some basic principles. You learn the rules and then you memorize the exceptions. And we're going to interweave as we go through each hormone answering these questions some basic principles that can help guide you so that we can condense this thousands of pieces of information into just a handful of principles that can guide us in understanding the endocrine system instead of rote memorizing it. Now, it may not hurt you to do both. Students have been successful with each in the past, but I would say the most successful students on the exam do a bit of both, understanding the principles and dedicating themselves to memorizing as well. But focus on understanding the hormones rather than just memorizing them. It'll be what you can carry into the future.